Can we close here?
Of the Fiji. He knew I was coming, so he left. Right? He knew I was coming, so he quickly got a ticket to go to Fiji. Get away. Well, thank you for inviting us here this evening. After a few years, I can't remember how many, a few years since we were probably last here. Is there a clock of some kind, as you wish? And is there a time limit?
Time limit? No? No? Yes.
Yes, no?
Yes, there is time limit. Free darshan, Prabhu? Check with this.
Time schedule, please. It's what I don't. It's what the time is now. The time now is 10 minutes past 7. What does that mean? What finishes by 9:30? So tell me when to finish the class. I don't know what the schedule is. And then. Okay. Hare Krishna. This evening I thought, I don't know, we looked back when people did you get it? Pardon? Those big hardbound Bhagavad Gita tables. Jaya Radha Madhava Chandra Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Chandra Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Chandra Vihari Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Gaunitai ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki, Gaur Premanande, all glorious to the assembled devotees, Shri Shri Radha Shri Gopinath, Namo Om Vishnu Hridaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale, Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namo. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vicharini Nirvasesha Sarvadi Nastatya Shatavani Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivedanta Shri Kripa Sindhu Vicha Patitanam Pavanero Vaishnaveyo Namo Mahamadhyam Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namo Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmane Taya Cha Jagatitaya Krishna Om Om Dhyanananda Janananda Chaksharananda Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I don't know how much or what normally is the program here, what we normally study, how much you understand or know about Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavad Gita. Who is overseeing the program here? Who is the coordinator? What do we normally talk quite simply or deeply, or what is it normally, the program? What type of speech do you normally have? Simply. Okay. Keep it quite simple. Good. Well, it was announced that we would talk about some of the secrets of bhakti. Where do we find the secrets of bhakti? What does Narada Muni say? What's it called? Narada Bhakti Sutra. Where do we find the secrets of bhakti? Where do you find them?
The Vedic literature.
It would be difficult to find. I don't have to play the harmonium now, do I? That was a quick class, okay. Is that for the book or something? Where do we find the secrets of bhakti? Pardon? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Vedic literatures, okay. Where else? The life of devotees, yes. In the presence of devotees, the secrets of the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, are hidden in the hearts of the devotees, pure devotees. And of course they desire to reveal them, but we have to be, it's like anything really. Where that came from. There's eligibility also to receive those jewels of devotional service. They're actually being made available. Krishna's giving us in the Bhagavad Gita, he's giving us these secrets of devotional service, secrets of knowledge, spiritual life. We have to be eligible to receive them. It's not just a matter of their being there. Most people don't take advantage of this. They don't understand the value, they don't value this teaching of Bhagavad Gita. So in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th chapter, it's called the most confidential knowledge. And in the 2nd verse, if you have the Bhagavad Gita, you might like to follow. Chapter 9, text number 2. We see that the 9th chapter, most confidential, is right in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. Right in the middle. And generally we keep our most confidential things protected. We don't usually put them out in the garden or hang them on the door or something like that. Even when you're on your own self, you don't usually carry the most confidential things in view of others too much. Well, of course, you may, and it depends what they are, but generally speaking, something which is confidential means that it's a little secret. It's not open to all. So certainly this knowledge, well, it's open to all, it's protected. In the Bhagavad Gita we find the 9th chapter, in the middle, right in the center of the Bhagavad Gita, protected from beginning 8 chapters and the remaining 9 chapters after this. And here Krishna in this 9th chapter gives us the most confidential aspect of knowledge. And text number 2, Krishna says, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitam Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharnyam Susukam Kartam Avyayam. The translation of this verse, this knowledge is the king of education. He's going to give knowledge of both numinal and phenomenal, spiritual and material knowledge. Arjuna, that Krishna says first in the first verse, Arjuna, because you are not envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. This knowledge relieves us of the miseries of material existence. It doesn't remove material existence, in one sense. It removes the miseries. And we may have already heard, or you may know, in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna states what are the causes of material misery. And he also gives the solution to that in the 5th chapter. What are the causes of material misery? Desire depends on the nature of the desire. Pardon? Karma is a result of, let's say, is like the judge gives you the judgment, but that's not the cause of your being imprisoned. You could say karma, depending on the nature of it. Strictly speaking, karma is activity which leads to the development of future material bodies. And in terms of its practical, let's say, relevance, it refers to activities of material activities, they may be, but according to religious principles. It's called karma. Very few people are even engaged in karma. They're mostly engaged in what's called vikarma. Vikarma means activities based upon one's own, say, whimsical desire or endeavor. They're not following necessarily the practice of applying the religious principles to one's activities, strictly speaking. So most people are not even engaged in karma, they're engaged in activities which lead to degradation. So they're all within a broader name, karma, but let's be a bit more specific.
Krishna's part of Krishna's energy.
Yeah, but why? What was the cause of misery?
Your illusion.
Sense gratification.
Sense gratification, thank you. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukhi yonya evite. I think that's 522, if I'm not mistaken, where Krishna explains that in Telugu, if you look it up and see. If you have your Bhagavad Gita, follow it. Of course, I might be wrong. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukhi yonya evite. Adyanta vanta kunteya nateshu namate buddha. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery. It's not a question of stopping misery, it's a question of stopping the source. Most people are more interested in trying to deal with the effects, isn't it? You know, you get sick, you take some medicine to cure the sickness, but there's not really a process of... There's some, of course in some areas there's some understanding, just like smoking, for instance. Most people are aware that smoking causes so many different problems, right? Whatever different signs you see up on the packet of cigarettes, it says, smoking kills. But people still smoke. Not very intelligent. But these are just one small example. But in general, people don't know how to bring suffering or misery to an end. They have different ideas, maybe, but not in the full sense of the term. So here it says that misery source. One intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, because he calls them misery. Just like a criminal, the solution to a criminal is not just to release them, but to actually educate or enlighten them in a way that they no longer cause their own suffering by being imprisoned. And this sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses, O son of Kunti, such pleasures, so-called pleasures of sense gratification, have a beginning and an end. So the wise man does not delight in them, because they cause suffering. Material sense gratification, although it gives some temporary pleasure or relief of some kind, ultimately leads to material suffering in this world. It's the way the world is. Right from the highest planet down to the lowest planet, everywhere is a place of suffering, even on the highest planet, because everything has a beginning and an end. Material sense gratification, even if it is good, that has an end. And that brings suffering. And at the end of this 5th chapter, Krishna gives a little clue as to how we can bring that suffering to an end. And what is that clue? All throughout the Bhagavad Gita, you find, if you look carefully, you see basically every chapter gives clues how we can bring suffering to an end. And it's not just by providing material facilities which appear to be lacking, and it's certainly not by giving up one's body, or by some external adjustment of some kind. What is the solution? What's the last verse of the 5th chapter? Pardon? Not the last verse of the 5th chapter. Or the first chapter. The last verse of the 5th chapter.
Lord is.
Bhoktaram? You got it, yeah? Loud and clear. Sue. Sue. What's the next line? Yes, what is that? Gyatva shanti michiti. What does Krishna say? You can get free from the miseries of this material world. How?
By offering all sacrifices.
Yeah, you offer everything to Krishna. Krishna is the enjoyer, is the beneficiary of all sacrifices. Everything should be offered to Krishna. A person in full consciousness, the first thing is become conscious of Krishna, knowing him to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice and austerity. In other words, everything's really meant for him. The sense gratification means it's for me, for us. Actually, it's meant for Krishna. He's the source of everything, everything belongs to him, everything should be offered to him. That's the idea. And he's also the supreme proprietor, isn't he? He's the Lord of all planets. Everything. Even the demigods are under him. Everything's under the supreme person. And that means all of our so-called property belongs to him. Whatever it may be, our body, our mind, everything which we may be utilizing or may be claiming proprietorship over, belongs to him. This world belongs to him. Our family belongs to him. They're all his energies. We're just, maybe you can say, having a lease without knowledge of the owner. You have to pay. Is anyone here leasing a property? You're leasing a property? Anybody leasing a property? Yes or no? Nobody? What do? You're leasing a property? Renting. It's kind of not necessary. Lease, it might also be part of a lease, but that's okay. So renting is more common. Some of you are renting. One or two are you're renting, Kesha? You're renting your room in your mother's house? Where's your mother? My goodness. You rent a room to Kesha, do you?
Paying guest. Paying guest.
So, you kind of say it's my house, but it's not really your house, is it? It's an owner. If you don't pay the owner, what happens? What happens?
Evicted.
Evicted. So similarly, in this human life, we're not really paying the owner. Are we? Maybe some. Not really, but how do we pay the owner in terms of Krishna? How do we pay him? How do you pay him? Direct transfer or every month?
Offer
bank?
everything. Offer everything to Krishna.
Offering things, yes. Sacrifice. Work done as a, what does Krishna say? Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Huh? We have to perform a sacrifice. Where's that verse? Come on, let's hear it. Come on, you can get it. Where are you finding it? Here it is. Come on. Yagyatat kamanam pralokoyam karmabandhana. You're doing pretty good. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. You get bound up. Tied up like a prisoner. Therefore, son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. In that way, you will always remain free from bondage. The Lord has given these prescribed duties. They're given in the Vedic literatures, the Brahmanas, the heads of society, guide in this direction. But this is coming from Krishna. The prescribed duties, the orders of Varna Ashram and so on, is provided by the Lord to help conditioned souls to gradually evolve. And that is what real Dharma means. It means following prescribed duties given by the Vedas, which are coming from Krishna. which means acting within the structure of the Varnashram system tradition. All this is broken down now. Whole modern society practically doesn't exist. It's there in one sense, but not in the real sense, because it's not actually conducted according to the practice or the guidelines of the Vedas or the guidelines of Scripture. And the benefit's not there. People still have their tendencies, but they're not actually offering them as a sacrifice to Vishnu. The Varnashram system is one aspect of sacrifice to Vishnu because it's coming from him. And that's the recommended method of organizing, practically speaking, society. And if we don't act according to that system, we're engaged in vikarma, we're engaged in sense gratification. The Varnashram system accommodates a certain degree of sense gratification in a regulated way, so we gradually become purified. It's the beginning stages of purification, so that's how it's organized. But people don't follow that. So at the end of this 5th chapter, Krishna's explaining how one can become free of these miseries by understanding that and offering sacrifices to Vishnu. So in this age of Kali, because this Varnashram system is not, it's practically extinct, it's practically not there, although maybe to some extent it may be instituted in some ways, but it's not the real way of actually performing sacrifice in this age. Even in previous ages, the sacrifice within the Varnashram system would vary according to time, place and circumstance. There would be fire sacrifices, there would be various offerings to the Lord, different items and so on, different festivities for his pleasure, and worship in different ways. But in this Kali Yuga, the Yajna, so in this age of Kali, what is the Yajna? Yajna Sankirtanam Praya Yajatihi Samedasaha. Sacrifice for this age of Kali is the Sankirtan, Yajna Sankirtanam Praya. This age of Kali is the Sankirtan Yajna, which is recommended for this age. Kala Dosha. This age is a very difficult age, so the yajna, the sacrifice, is made very simple and which doesn't depend upon pretty much any other situation of time, place and circumstance. The yajna can be performed anywhere by anyone. It doesn't require a structure. Anyone can perform the sacrifice in this age, no matter what condition we're in, of Sankirtan, chanting the holy names of the Lord. That's the recommended sacrifice, or way to please the Lord in this age of Kali. And also, he's the friend. Remember that Krishna is the friend and well-wisher of all living entities. One who knows this is freed from the pangs of material misery, just material suffering. So it's a question of knowledge also. One who acts in this knowledge, as we've just heard, this knowledge is the king of education. This is the knowledge, to know that Krishna is the source of everything, that we also are meant to act accordingly. As we're coming from him, we should act in relationship with him. And throughout the whole Bhagavad Gita, we can go to practically any chapter, and you will find that the indication is there that that needs to be connected with Krishna. Even in the 6th chapter, which deals mainly with Ashtanga Yoga, the process of self-restraint and controlling the senses, internalizing one's consciousness, etc. At the end of the chapter, what does Krishna say? The very last verse. After describing this whole process, which was rejected by Arjuna, saying that I can't follow this, my mind is too disturbed. It's more difficult to control than thee. The mind is more difficult to control than thee. The what? Wind. The raging wind. You ever try to control the wind? You can harness it, but you can't control it. You take advantage of its power to some extent, but ultimately we cannot control it beyond our capacity to control it. Maybe a slight little bit of defense system is there, a slight diversion sometimes, but not actually controlling, beyond our control. So the mind is more difficult to control than the raging wind. So Krishna explained Ashtanga Yoga, Arjuna rejects it. And Krishna said it is possible, yes it is very difficult, but it is possible by... Huh? Yeah. Huh? Yeah. And by regular practice and by detachment, it's possible to control the mind. But it's very, very, very difficult. And what's the point of it anyway? What is the purpose? The 9th chapter, Krishna says, what is the real purpose of the mind? Is it just to control it? Is that the goal of yoga, to control? It is definitely. You can say an aspect, but is it the goal of yoga? Simply to control the mind and senses? Is that the goal? What's the goal? Yes?
To achieve Krishna Bhakti and
Yeah, more or less. To engage the mind, what does Krishna say?
to engage the mind in devotional service.
Yeah, and exactly what does Krishna say? They're correct, but that's how the Krishna, what do you say? Manmana bhavad bhakto madhyajimam. That's the, yeah, you're getting 2 verses kind of together there. 9th chapter, the last verse, and in the 18th chapter, the 65th verse. They're almost the same. You know that, young man? You have your hand up? You know this verse? He knows that one, huh? Manmana bhavad bhakto, yes? Very good boy. Well done. Well done. Yes, you can read it, the end of the 9th chapter, last verse of the 9th chapter. Most confidential knowledge. Manmana bhavama bhakto madhyajivam namastu nammi vaishasi yukvaivam atmanam bhakrayana. It says there, engage your mind always in thinking of me. That's what the mind's meant to be doing. Of course, we can't do it in the course of our daily work, but as much as possible we try. When you have any spare time, try to remember Krishna. Krishna later on says in all your work, remember me. In the 18th chapter you can see, he said, in all your activities, be conscious of me, act always under my protection. Don't act whimsically. So even in our work, you can see Krishna. You can experience Krishna's presence even at work. Even if our work appears to be mundane, it's actually Krishna's energy. The ability to work, the offerings, the sacrifice, or everything involved in the work is also Krishna's energy. Coming from Him. The ability, the tools that we use, the body that we use to work with, the fruits of the work, even the boss, believe it or not, even the boss is coming from Krishna. Maybe a hard one to right? But he is. He's also Krishna's part and parcel. He's being directed by Krishna according to his karma and desire. Everything's under Krishna's direction. What is the problem? Krishna's everywhere. We're not on that level of advancement, but that's the whole idea in the Bhagavad Gita, to come to that platform by following the prescribed duties so that we gradually become eligible to receive or realize. It's not just a question of knowing it, it's a question of realizing, just like in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. What is that called? What is the 4th chapter called? I don't know.
The yoga of devotion.
Yoga of devotion, that would be Bhakti Yoga, wouldn't it? That's what chapter is Bhakti Yoga? Chapter 12. What's chapter 4? Pardon? Yeah, Divya transcendental knowledge. And there Krishna also gives more clues as to what the knowledge is, what's the goal of life. What does he say there? How can you attain perfection in the 4th chapter? What does he say? Huh? Famous verse begins with Janma. Yeah, very good. English?
talking about the transcendental nature of activities and appearance. Doesn't take place against material.
Are you giving him a clue? You can look at it, 4th chapter, maybe, I don't know, text 8 or 9 or something like that, maybe? 9? Transcendental knowledge, 4:9, beautiful verse. We already got the Sanskrit almost. Janmakama chamedivam evam yogti tapchukadiham vanarjana nayati mam eti sorajana. That means, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not. What happens? If you know the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and activities, what happens?
He doesn't take part in birth and death.
Yeah, he doesn't take birth again. Upon leaving the body, he does not take his birth again in this material world. But where does he go?
Back to God.
He attains my eternal abode, or Arjuna. So that's knowledge, but that knowledge is just not theoretical. Later in the 4th chapter, Krishna explains one who dedicates oneself to this knowledge realizes that knowledge in due course of time. What takes our activities from mundane or material to spiritual? How is that transformation taking place? That is also explained in the 4th chapter, in the key verse. What is the key verse in the 4th chapter? There are many keys, but what is the key that really takes mundane to transcendence? Otherwise everyone can say, we're all one, you're doing your thing, I'm doing mine. What determines?
4:11.
Well, 4:11 is a good verse, but that's not the one we're thinking of. Well, that's not the one we're referring to. It's number 34. Right, he's a pandit from Newcastle. Newcastle pandit. Enlightening us all here in the truth. And what are we supposed to do? Full verse please.
Approach the spiritual master, inquire submissively from him, and render devotional service to him.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching. Okay, and then you said inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. What's the use of all that? What's the point of that?
The spiritual master knows the truth, so you can reveal it to us.
Yes. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. If you know something, you can give it. If you don't have it, you can't give it. The secret of Bhagavad Gita is given, and this is the process. Now, it's more than just that even. The spiritual masters, the pure devotees of Lord, yes, they know Krishna to whatever extent he reveals himself to them. And they know the path which can lead to devotional service, the path which ultimately leads to understanding Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, by no other means can I be understood other than through devotional service. But even still, there's another aspect. There's another aspect to how one can understand Krishna, or how this knowledge or this truth is revealed. Who reveals it? Pardon? Yes and no. He reveals the process. He gives the process. He gives knowledge. But who actually reveals? Pardon? Paramatma up to a certain... Yes, you could say Paramatma in this world. Ultimately it's Krishna who reveals himself, doesn't he? Even the understanding. What does he say in the 10th chapter? Seed verses. 4 seed verses. What does he say? Well, that's the first of them. That's the third. Pardon? No, that's the first of the 4 verses. Text number 8, 9, maybe 10. Text number 10. What does he say? Desham satatam dhanam dhami buddhi yogam tam. Okay. What does that mean?
That means
That means you've forgotten. Okay, Krishna is also the source of forgetfulness. Don't blame Krishna for your forgetfulness.
To those who are constantly worried.
Huh? Somebody else? Anyone else? No, there's like these two candidates at the front here answering too many questions for pandits up here. What's the translation of that verse? To those who are constantly devoted
to me, I would
and worship me with love, I
I
give them the understanding by which they can come to me. By serving the spiritual master, Krishna gives that understanding. It's Krishna who gives. It's Krishna who purifies the heart. It's Krishna who reveals himself. When he's pleased, and this is giving here the process. You please him by following the process. That's simple in one sense. Difficult to apply maybe. But if we apply ourselves to this knowledge, the knowledge given by the spiritual master, the practical process of devotional service, masters, we may have many teachers and spiritual masters, that process, if properly applied, Krishna says here, one will realize that knowledge in due course of time. Lord reveals it. Back to the 6th chapter, which we didn't finish quite just now, where Krishna says in the end, the last verse of the 6th chapter, after explaining different, main practice. In the 5th chapter he's also explained to a certain extent Jnana, and in the 6th chapter Ashtanga Yoga, and so on. What does he say at the end of the 6th chapter? Again, pointing the way to what the real goal is and how you can achieve it. All these other activities, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Raja Yoga, this yoga, that yoga. So many yogas out there. Nowadays there's a lot of yogurt on the market too. Offered to Krishna, it becomes also a part of the path. And the yogas, there are many, I don't know, there's yoga for everything now, there's gurus all over the world. The other day, what was that guru we saw in the shopping precinct the other day? What was he called? Is any of you with me? No, I don't know if any of you are with me. What was he called? I don't know. He was a guru in the shopping precinct. A real guru. Were you with me when we went through the shopping precinct? What was he called? I think it was the hairdressing guru, I think it was. Something like a hairdressing guru. They have a guru for everything, you know. Right?
IT guru.
Huh? IT guru. Everything guru. Computer guru. Everything, huh? Wait, what? Was he dressed? No, we didn't get to see him. We weren't qualified. He was hiding inside a shop. You have to be qualified to enter in. You have to pay enough money, otherwise they won't let you in. But you know, they use the word very lightly, even yoga sometimes. This yoga, that yoga, so many different types of exercises and things you press and do this and that. You know. It's not really yoga. What is yoga? What is yoga? What does it mean? What does it mean? Huh? To unite, to connect, to link up with the Supreme. It's not just some activity which we do. It's just exercise. Even on the mental plane, it's just another mental exercise. It's actually when we connect our very being, and we start with whatever we conceive of as the being in this world, and connect that with Krishna, our body, our senses, our mind, and everything. Connect that with Krishna, so the confidential knowledge, the secret, is this path of connecting with Krishna. At the end of the 6th chapter, what does Krishna say about yoga and yogis? Yoginam. Yes, something along those lines. Yoginam pisavisham vatkatena shorvam vachitena yogam salamya katamomataha. Of all yogis, who is the topmost? Who is the dearmost to Krishna?
The one who endeavors.
Pardon?
The one who endeavors more.
Endeavors they may all endeavor. In what way do they endeavor?
Worshiping with faith.
Excuse me?
worship him with faith.
Yes. And of all yogis, the one who, with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, is most intimately united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. And Krishna is Yogeshwara. Enter the back of the Gita, see Yogeshwara, look to Yogeshwara. That Krishna is the yoga master of yoga. So his opinion is not just an opinion, it's a fact. But the highest of all yogis is one who is united with Krishna in loving devotional service. So the secret of Bhagavad Gita is that to understand Krishna is through the practice of devotional service. Raja Vidya, it is the topmost. If you look in the 9th chapter again, back to text number 2. This knowledge is the king of education, Raja Vidya, and it's also called Raja Guyam. What does that mean? Raja Guyam. What does that mean? Pardon? Someone else?
Secret of all secrets.
Yeah, the most confidential knowledge. It's very... Anyone can read the Bhagavad Gita. What's confidential about that? Anyone can read it. So what does it mean, confidential? It's the most confidential secret, or here it says, as you write, secret of all secrets, different translations. It is the purest knowledge, pavitram, and because it gives direct perception of the self, pratyakshavamandanyam, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, avyayam, and it is joyfully performed. Susukam kartam. This is the second verse of the 9th chapter, where Krishna summarizes basically the kind of aspects of this knowledge which he's about to reveal to Arjuna, knowledge of connecting with him through devotional service, step by step. So what is that Rajaguyam? What is that most secret of all secrets? We've said it, really, and what is it? What is the secret of all secrets? You said it already. Come on, we're just reminding you. It's on the tip of your tongue, isn't it? What is that secret? It's simple.
Sacrifice.
Well, that's the process to, what's it? The simple secret is, what is that secret?
Abandon all religions.
Huh?
Abandon all religions.
Okay, you can say that, yeah. Krishna is saying, ultimately he's the only shelter. He is the only shelter. We must take shelter of him. And the process of taking shelter, all this is a stepping stone, you could say, but ultimately bhakti is the goal. Bhakti is the only way to get Krishna's shelter. And that's the way he reveals himself. Can't see him, he can only be seen. In the 11th chapter, Krishna says he can only be seen through devotional service, not by any other means. This is the process. All the other process may lead to some degree of understanding of the absolute truth, but not in full. Not the personal form of Krishna is the most confidential. To understand the personal form of Krishna. Not the impersonal comes automatically if you understand the personal. But to understand the impersonal aspect of the absolute truth does not entail that one understands the personal aspect. To understand his energies is one thing, but it's not enough. We have to also have understanding of the energetic source. So that's the Bhagavad Gita is giving us opportunities, giving us guidance. And Krishna, as you said, the ultimate instruction, actually the ultimate instruction is Manmana Bhagavad Bhakto in one sense. That's the Paribhasya Sutra of the Bhagavad Gita. But 1866, Sarvadharman Pratyabhyam Manikamasharanam Brajam. Surrender it up. Give up all other forms of shelter. We are so attached to so many things. We have so many other shelters. We won't let go. We can't let go of it. We can't even let go of our toe. To speak of anything else. We're so attached. Family, position, house, wife, dog, cat, fish, budgerigar, whatever we've got. Bank balance, job, position in society, our hair, everything. We get attached to just about everything. Because we still haven't realized we're not the proprietor, it belongs to Krishna, and it's meant for his pleasure. But a gradual process of doing that, engaging what we do, giving the fruits of our work to Krishna, moulding our lives in relationship with Krishna at home, making a nice altar, chanting the holy names in front of the altar, reading regularly together with the family, if possible, the scriptures, offering all our food to the altar, doing arti. Like this, gradually, the center of our lives becomes Krishnized. And the more we chant where we work, chant wherever we can, chant wherever you go, as much as we can. It helps us to remind us of Bhakta Nagatatta Samsarvaloka Maheshwaram. And this is the peace formula, this is the secret, this is the real friend who teaches us this. The real Vaishnava teaches that everything belongs to Krishna and should be offered to Krishna. And maybe not immediately telling that, but acting in such a way as to lead towards that at least. And that's the path of surrender. When we start to offer everything to Krishna, ultimately, not just offering the fruits of our work, but offering our very self to become a surrendered soul, to exist for Krishna, give up all other shelters, all. It's the final instruction of Gita, so we may not start at the end, but we have to start somewhere along the path, and so the path of Bhagavad Gita, if followed properly, will lead to that ultimate conclusion. So it looks like our time has now reached its deadline. Time flies by. So are there any quick questions? Keshava has a very active participant in the program tonight. Pardon? By my blessings? No. I think you're blessed by the Lord.
When you said like to engage your mind like in devotional service, like how long does it take?
To engage the mind?
Yes.
How long does it take? Anybody had an experience how long it takes to engage your mind in Krishna service? How long does it take? Hey, you've got a microphone here. Okay, if any more questions come, there is a mic. How long does it take to engage your mind in Krishna service? Pardon? A few kalpas, oh my goodness. Ooh, gee whiz. It's too much for me. What's on the movies tonight?
It is instant.
An instant.
And it can go also instant.
Yeah, it can be. Well, the point is, once you actually engage your mind in Krishna service, it won't go. You know, in an instant, a moment. But as you say, it might take kalpas, but it can be done in an instant also. You just have to do it. And usually there's so much other stuff in there. There's no room. Too busy with other things. Huh? So many other things in our heart, in our mind, full of dust, full of dirt, full of attachments, full of various karmic reactions on a subtle plane. So what do we do? How long do we can't say in terms of how long we're going to clear that out. That can happen in a moment. Krishna can clean it up in a moment if we surrender. Totally to Him. It happens when we surrender. As long as we've got other ulterior motives, other intentions in life, it just takes that much time. But what is the process of cleaning away all of those dirty things in our heart or in our mind? Yes, there has to be a cleansing. The beauty of this process of devotional service is the cleansing process is also the goal. It's not like we're cleaning it and then filling it with something else. We're actually cleansing it with the very thing that we want to fill it with. It's a pretty good process. What is that? Huh? Chanting. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nivarpanam. See? Cleanse the heart of all the dust. The dust means all these accumulated karmas from lifetime after lifetime, which are, on the subtle plane there, are completely filling our consciousness, basically. occupying our consciousness. They can be cleared away by the chanting of the holy names. And it depends upon the degree. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva prayana agam dinvansi karsnena niharam iva bhaskaraha. It's like agam dinvansi karsnena. All the sinful, right down to the root, are removed by kechit kevalaya bhaktya. When our devotional service is kevala bhakti, when it's very fixed, or tivrena bhakti yogina, when it's like very powerful devotional service. So it just depends on the individual. Of course, it generally takes time before one comes to that application or that point of surrender. But it could be in a moment. It could be in a moment, it could take many lifetimes. It depends on the situation, the individual's desire. If our desire is strong enough, it can happen real quick. Sometimes we hear devotees, we hear like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his writing, Jayavadana or whatever. After a few days, I realized my relationship with Krishna. I mean, some of the devotees are actually having these realizations. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of course, he's an eternal associate, but he said as soon as he heard Chaitanya Charitamrita, he immediately realized his relationship with the Lord. He was experiencing ecstatic symptoms in that way. But generally with us, because we're so conditioned, it just takes time. It depends on the degree of our... It's like a sickness. How long does it take to cure? It depends how much you apply the medicine, how you follow the course, and how sick you are, and any other external circumstances involved. You can't say it's the same for everybody. It varies. And some people are more conditioned than others, and some people are more serious to apply the process than others. Some people are more dependent upon Krishna. You could say it comes to the point where we actually surrender to Krishna, and we actually, like Devaki, and Devaki also. No, the wife of the Pandavas, Draupadi. How she just threw up her arms and just gave up all of her endeavour to protect herself and surrendered to Krishna, protected her in a moment. There are many examples like that, devotees who show the path of surrender. So it's up to us if we want to take it. It could happen in a moment, or it could take a long time. Depends. Time is very relative anyway. Whether it's one lifetime. I mean, we see examples like Govinda, Lord Chaitanya, Mukunda, one of Lord Chaitanya's closest associates who committed a minor offence, and Lord Chaitanya told him, I don't want to see his face again. And the devotees all thought, well, Mukunda has done such a small offence, it wasn't really his fault anyway. And Lord Chaitanya said, whatever it is, he's committed an offence, I don't want to see his face again. And you can tell him like that, don't tell him not to come here. So they told Mukunda, and Mukunda said that, oh, please ask, will it ever be possible for me to see Lord Chaitanya in the future? And so Lord Chaitanya said, yes, you can tell him he can see me in 10 million lifetimes. After just 10 million lifetimes. So they told him, and he started dancing in ecstasy. Oh, my Lord is so merciful. I will be able to see him again in just 10 million lifetimes. Oh, how fortunate am I. And think, oh my God, 10 million lifetimes. What is this? Imagine how we feel. We can't even handle one lifetime. Too much, Why am I not seeing Krishna? I've been chanting for 2 days. 2 years. Whatever it is, 20 years. And I'm still not feeling bliss and ecstasy. This kind of like statements, but it's a relative thing. Depends on Krishna's mercy ultimately. We can only, fix the mind on Krishna by his mercy. Also, we have to therefore appeal for it. So surrender to Krishna means that, really. But we're actually turning to Krishna. We can't control our minds without his mercy. We can't control our senses without his mercy. We can't go back to Godhead without his mercy. It's not a mechanical thing. Okay, Krishna, I'm qualified enough now. Come and take me back to Godhead, okay? I've chanted, I made a vow to chant 1 billion names. I've done it. So where are you? I've done my part. Where are you? Not like that. When your heart is soft and when we love Krishna, Krishna naturally will reciprocate. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Prabhupada said you can go back to God in this lifetime if you follow this process. In this lifetime. Anything else? Or we better go on. One last question. Yeah. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, please tell us something about Srila Prabhupada.
Well, we've been talking. This is Prabhupada. Prabhupada said to you, if you want to know me, read my books. He's present there in the books. So, I mean, there are millions of them. You've got books and books and books of wonderful pastimes about Srila Prabhupada. Is it not? You've got Prabhupada Lila Rita, you've got Transcendental Diary, you've got, what's that, Transcendental Adventure, what's it called in Australia, Kerma's book?
The Great Souls.
Transcendental Adventures, I don't know what it was called. There's so many books about Srila Prabhupada. So much is there. And you could go on and on and on with different pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, but Srila Prabhupada is present right now in his Siksha. We need the association of the pure devotee, and the way we associate. How do you get the form of the spiritual master, the vapu of the spiritual master is only actually realized through Vani. It's not realized just by hanging around. It's realized by following the instructions of the spiritual master. Then one can realize the spiritual self-realized spiritual master. It's realized by following his instruction. So Srila Prabhupada is present in his instruction. One time one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, what does Kripa Siddha mean? We have sadhana siddha, Kripa siddha, nitya siddha, ways of perfection, through practice, through mercy, and through, of course, being eternally situated in devotional service. But what does that Kripa, mercy, siddha mean? Prabhupada said that means the instructions which I'm giving you, that is the Kripa. It's not through sadhana, actually it's through mercy. By following the instruction of the spiritual master, one gets Krishna's mercy. What do we sing every morning? Those who get up early enough. You can sing it later on too if you don't get up too early. But in the morning of Mangalarti, this auspicious time of the day, Prabhupada asked us to sing this song. What is that song? Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Katopi Dayam Stuvam Stasya Yasastri Sandham Vande Varoshi Charanarayam. What is that? By the mercy of Krishna one gets spiritual master, by the mercy of the spiritual master one gets Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master no one can attain to Krishna, no one can go back. We must get that mercy. The mercy of the spiritual master, when we follow his instruction, evokes the mercy of Krishna. And that is how one can become freed from this material world. So Prabhupada has given us in everything the process of how we can become freed from this. And this guy is just coming down from Krishna through the parampara, Prabhupada, the external manifestation, in that sense, of the super soul. As all pure devotees are. They're all pure devotees. Prabhupada himself said that amongst the disciples of his Guru Maharaj, many of them received the same instruction. Many of them received the same instruction to preach this message all over the world, but they didn't do it. That was the only difference. They didn't do it. Actually, Prabhupada made that his life instruction. I was listening to one time, one Vyasa, not Vyasa, it was Prabhupada Kilbaz, the disappearance festival of Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan. One of his godnephews, the disciple of one of his godbrothers, was speaking about Prabhupada. He only spoke for a couple of minutes because he never met him. But he spoke for a few minutes. He said, Swami Maharaj, that's what they call our Prabhupada, the Gaudiya Math. Swami Maharaj alone, amongst all of the various followers of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, understood the mission of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. He spoke like that. Quite astonishing. Since his Guru Maharaj he'd not been present, but he was also gone by then. And he said, whilst others were sitting around talking about tattvas, which they could not understand, Swami Maharaj preached the message of Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj had given, and he attacked, he said, secretly he attacked the world of sense gratification and science, full on, very boldly, which nobody else dares venture into practically. You get lynched practically. But Prabhupada fearlessly, Prabhupada was fearless. And anyone who follows him can also become fearless. What have we got to lose? We've got Krishna's. We've got nothing to lose, we've got everything to gain. Just live for Krishna. Prabhupada showed us how to sacrifice our life for Krishna. Living example of a Bhagavat, one who lives the Bhagavatam. Therefore, in the purports in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, wherever it is, you can feel, or you can still experience Srila Prabhupada's association. Still present there. He reasons ill who tell that Vaishnavas die while thou art living still and sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread the holy name around. Holy sound around, whatever. They're never dead. Their instructions live forever. If we follow them, we can also live forever. The process of Prabhupada taught us this path of eternity by his personal example, showing us how this material world which we're in is also a spiritual world in one sense. We just have to connect it with Krishna. Okay, we'll finish there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Glenfield Sabhava ki jai. Raghunath ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Have a quick kirtan now, is it? Quick kirtan. Where's the pujari? Who's the pujari tonight? You are? What are you doing? Your Peter's doing it tonight, isn't he? Daddy or Peter? Daddy? Who's Daddy? Dada? Where's Dada? Come forward, Dada. Where's our Dada?
Yeah?